Hey guys, I'm Noah. Welcome back to the channel. Super stoked on today's episode. Honestly, I was trying to record this last night, but I was just too neurotic and upbeat and my energy was all over the place. So what we're going to get into today is Francis Ngannou shocking the world yet again. Francis has got to be one of my favorite combat sports athletes of all time. Like at this point, it's undeniable. The guy, not only did he start training in his early 20s, but when he started mixed martial arts, he didn't even know what it was. He originally wanted to be a boxer. This guy's a giant 6'4", 272-pound man. I mean, this guy is unlike any combat athlete we've probably ever seen. Mike Tyson was a freak athlete, and it was just honestly so ironic that Mike Tyson was in the corner of Francis Ngannou. So if you guys don't know, there was a giant boxing event this weekend, Tysonfury versus Francis Ngannou. This is one of the most prolific, prismatic, and historic events in boxing history, in my opinion. This event was bigger than Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, and it was a completely different story here. Conor was able to go 11 rounds with arguably the greatest boxer of all time, but as far as heavyweight boxers go, Tysonfury is probably the man. He is on that level of Ali. He's at least our best present-day heavyweight boxer of all time. And Francis Ngannou, who had never been in a boxing ring, didn't start MMA until he was like in his mid-20s, gets in there and beats Tysonfury. Okay, so he didn't technically win on all scorecards, but the fact that we're even having this conversation that this guy won on one scorecard of a professional boxing debut against the greatest heavyweight of all time is absolutely insane. And this is so inspiring. This story and Francis's story, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Francis's story, but if you're not, you should be. This guy has worked his entire life to make his dreams come true. When he was young, he knew he wanted to be a boxer, but everyone thought he was nuts. Everyone thought he was crazy. Nobody thought, even in his family, that it would materialize in any way. He goes on to become, as we know, the heavyweight champion of UFC. He left the UFC for this event, and he put everything on the line in this. Everything was on the line. Because if he didn't win this fight, yeah, he could go back to the PFL and fight some cans, and, you know, maybe he'd get another boxing match down the line. But he beat Tysonfury in his own game on one of the scorecards. And the point differential for Francis and Tyson was 1 point. Tysonfury only won by 1 point, and he's supposed to be the greatest of all time. What that shows is Francis is a much better boxer than we thought. And honestly, Francis, you saved the MMA boxing fusion thing that's going on here. You saved the whole thing. And you also shed a huge light on where the state of boxing is, that the best of all time heavyweight gets defeated on one scorecard by someone who's never had a boxing debut, never had a boxing match. It's absolutely insane. So what I want to get into today is, how did he win? How did he win? For starters, Tysonfury completely overlooked him. I mean, he was probably not really even training. He said he did a 3 months camp. I don't buy it. I think he probably went into this thinking it was just going to be like his first spar for his Usyk camp. I think he went into this saying, I am going to say that I've been training this whole time, but honestly, I've only been training for a couple weeks, and you're my first spar, Francis. That's how it looked. Here's the thing. We don't have much footage on Francis just pure boxing, ever in the UFC. We know that he's able to use his kicks to set up his punches and knock people out. We know he has undeniable power, strongest punch ever recorded in history. We all know that if he touches you, you're going out. Now, obviously, he put down Tysonfury, which is an absolute amazing accomplishment. From that moment on, we all knew Francis won. He won here. Second thing I noticed was that Tysonfury's big, right? And he's 277 pounds, and Francis is weighed in at 272 pounds. So there's been this whole thing about who's bigger and who's more powerful. Now, let's just put it this way. They're basically the same weight. They're 5 pounds off. Take it like that. Francis is a solid, sturdy 275-pounder. There's no fat on that man. Now, on Tysonfury, he's probably 20% body fat. So what that means is if Francis is mostly muscle and Tyson is fat and muscle, it ends up being that, like, Francis is basically the stronger man. So then it comes down to technique. And Francis completely surprised Tyson and absolutely dominated, better than we thought. So what I'm trying to get to is Tyson is big, but he's not a monster. If you look at his back versus Francis's back, it's obvious that Francis is like twice as strong. Another thing is I don't buy that Tyson is 6'9". Francis is obviously 6'4". That's been documented many times, but Tyson looks like he's only a couple inches taller than Francis. So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that Tysonfury is not stronger than Francis. So my second reason for him beating him is because Francis was just stronger and he wasn't able to get shots off in the clinch. You know, Tyson wasn't able to do that dirty boxing where he kind of clinches up and then he frees up and then shoots a punch. He wasn't able to grapple with him and get those body shots in as he's grappling him. It was not a good showing for Tysonfury, hands down. Tysonfury was overwhelmed by Francis's power. Okay, the next reason why Francis was able to do what he did last night, which was win on one scorecard, honestly, in my opinion, I think he could have won. It could have gone either way, but either way. The third reason why Francis won is that he was able to switch stances. Now, this enabled him to mess with Tyson's timing. When Francis switched stances, Tyson had to think, as you do boxing, okay, what punch can I throw now that he's in orthodox? And then Francis would switch again, so he'd had to set up his whole chess game again. Then he'd switch back to southpaw, back to orthodox. And Tyson was never able to get his normal rhythm going. He wasn't able to get his jab. So Francis being able to switch stances, not only was he able to mess with Tyson's head in that way, but he was also able to rest his jab arm. A lot of times what happens is boxing is we throw way more jabs and hooks with our front hand than we do crosses. Usually the jab hand gets way more tired than your backhand. So when Francis was jabbing, throwing hooks, and then he got a little tired in his shoulders, he was able to switch and rest that hand. He never dropped his hands. After the jab got thrown out so many times and he got tired, he would switch stances and start throwing jabs with this hand. Oh, I'm getting tired now. Okay, let me switch this stance. Go back to the orthodox. Go back to southpaw. So he was able to keep both of his arms fresh. Okay, the next one is his durability. I think the boxing community doesn't realize how much damage people take in MMA. And Francis has taken elbows, knees, kicks to the head. These are like getting hit with a baseball bat. And he's been hit with these shots, who knows, 10, 20 times a fight. When you have a 10-ounce glove on, it doesn't hurt as much. And as we know from Francis's story, which I recommend you go check out, this guy does not quit. I'm sure his pain tolerance level is one of the highest people in the world. He's hands down just his toughness was overlooked. He can take shots. He took 2 1-2 punches in a row from Tysonfury, 277 pounds, undefeated, heavyweight, champion of the world. And he was basically unfazed. In MMA, I think fighters take way more damage and their pain threshold is way higher. So Francis was able to take more shots than Tysonfury. Francis is used to struggle. He's used to pain. This moment has been building for his entire life, basically. And here he is. You know that guy is going to go out on his shield. There's no quitting the man. The punch stat numbers did have Tyson winning, but I think Francis's shots were harder. I think Francis did more damage. If you looked at both men's face at the end of the fight, Tyson had a little mouse on him and he had a little cut on his forehead. There is so many ways in which Francis won tonight. And I do believe he somewhat shed a light on boxing. I love boxing. I started from boxing. I absolutely love Tysonfury, and his story is amazing too. Both these men's stories is so inspirational. Now, Tysonfury is so tough, and he goes down. I mean, he goes down quite a lot, but then what he's able to do is, outside of being knocked down, he's just this brilliant boxer, so he wins the rest of the stuff on point. And finally, the last reason I feel like he won is because when Francis put him down in the 3rd round, and when he put him down in like the 5th or 6th round, but it was more like Tyson was taking a knee, Tyson got ambivalent. He started to realize, oh, snap, this guy can put me down with one shot. I can't be playing with this anymore. The first few rounds, it was sort of like we all kind of thought, all right, Tyson's going to just sort of carry him through this fight. Francis obviously has a stronger punch, and as soon as Tyson felt that power, he became completely ambivalent. He just started to get much more reserved. He realized, okay, I can't go toe-to-toe with this guy. I have to purely box him. So after he got put down, you could sense the tentativeness in Tyson. And you could sense Francis sensing this. So that's why I feel like he won. Those 5 reasons. This boxing match was amazing. I honestly feel like it was really good for boxing. I actually feel like Francis is a much better boxer and has been a much better boxer than we've really been giving him credit for. Ever since he was a kid, he wanted to be a boxer. He wanted to be like Mike Tyson. So this whole 20-year manifestation has mostly been about punching people. And I feel like after 20 years of shadow boxing and doing his MMA experience, he actually was really kind of just like a boxer the whole time. He's not known for his wrestling in MMA. So really all he's been doing this whole time is knocking people out, setting up the punches with kicks, getting in the clinch to break free and then unload on somebody. I really feel like Francis isn't just a boxer that just debuted. I feel like he's been a boxer sort of this whole time, at least in mindset. Man, I am so happy for this guy. And this is going to open up so many more opportunities for him in boxing, in MMA, in life. At the end of the day, kudos to Francis. Man, that was amazing. I'm buzzing still off that boxing event and shit. Thank you guys for joining me. Talk to you next episode. Peace.